Patriots, Gatriots, and Theytriots. We are at the DNC. We were there all night on the opening night, and we're reporting to you. And my assessment is, hey, Donald Trump, hey, MAGA, it is all over but the crying.
What I could not wrap my head around was the enthusiasm. I mean, being in that building, the enthusiasm, the happiness, the joy, it was overwhelming. And when I sat through each speaker, I was struck by, this is how grown-ups do a convention. This is how serious politicians, they come with policy, how they can help the American people. It's clear from all of the people that spoke that they are an inclusive party. They're about freedom, future, hope. So I was just overwhelmed with positivity and optimism.
One of my biggest takeaways, I mean, aside from just the energy, the unity of the party, is we all get stuck in these echo chambers, whatever they are. And, you know, you hear Donald Trump saying crazy stuff all day, 24/7. And then the news really not calling him out on it. Was the messaging last night from every speaker is about equality. And then there is a very strong message to working class people, which is the majority of the population. And you hear from MAGA, you hear this demeaning of unions, demeaning of AOC, who had bartended before she became a congresswoman, and they demean and belittle and demean and belittle. And it's all about, they're still clinging on to this trickle-down economics with MAGA. And you heard every single speaker last night make the case that trickle-down economics is bullshit. It only benefits the very top. And you heard this humanizing and decent message to working class people. And I think that's so important. You heard a humanizing message for immigrants, and not just this demeaning, demoralizing, dehumanizing message that came out of the RNC with all the other crazy shit that they spoke about. But let's hear a little clip right now from AOC, who, by the way, was magnetic.
Yes.
She is a star. The Democratic bench is so deep and so competent. It was just wild and so much fun to be there. But here was one of my favorite clips from AOC.
To love this country is to fight for its people. All people, working people, everyday Americans like bartenders and factory workers and fast food cashiers who punch a clock and are on their feet all day in some of the toughest jobs out there. You know, ever since I got elected, Republicans have attacked me by saying that I should go back to bartending. But let me tell you, I'm happy to any day of the week, because there is nothing wrong with working for a living.
Okay, that right there is such a stark difference. That messaging to reach out to people that the Republicans demean and belittle because they are working class people. They do it with their policies. They do it with their messaging. They have been very successful at trying to demonize unionizing with their whole right-wing media, echo chamber. And to hear the Democrats make this moral case for everybody is so refreshing. And it's something that this country needs so desperately to hear over and over and over, because I have always felt, living deep in a red state, that the Republican Party is very immoral in their policies. And I've always been struck by all of these people around me in the red state that I live in that go to church every time the doors open, but how quick they are to demean people like AOC, who I would argue that's more the message of what religion is about, helping the poor, giving people value. So I am so relieved to see the Democrats take the moral case for voting Democratic to the people so that the entire nation could hear that.
The contrast about the amount of women that spoke and the issues that they spoke on. There was a woman that was raped when she was 12. She became pregnant as a product of the rape. And
by her stepfather.
And the fact that these Republicans, particularly MAGA, Project 2025, J.D. Vance calling it inconvenient and saying, well, it's a state's right. It's not a state's right. It's a human right. No one should have to go to the doctor and have their government dictate their care. It is so important that we recognize that Project 2025 and the MAGA agenda is a national abortion ban.
That speaker, this is what the air went out of the arena when she said this. And here's the direct quote. She says, this rape victim who was raped by her stepfather says, what is so beautiful about a child having to carry their parent's child? That is J.D. Vance, Donald Trump, Lion Ted, all of them. That is the America they want to live in. That attack on women and on victims of assault and on our right to have privacy with our medical care providers, that is their America. And I can assure you, if somebody's dick was in trouble and the government was trying to get into it, they would pass all sorts of, nope, it's not the government's business. Nope, it's not the government's business. So this issue of abortion is the most important thing that we have to go vote for, because everything, all LGBTQ plus, minority rights, all of those things are linked, because that's what MAGA is going after. Okay, sorry.
Oh, no.
Okay.
What I particularly enjoyed was the humanization of Joe Biden by his daughter and his wife. I thought his daughter did such an amazing job. It shows what a decent man he is, a man of integrity, a man of character, a man that put the country in front of himself. He sacrificed and walked away from political power because he believes in the American people. To contrast that with someone that was so desperate to hold on to political power that they instigated a coup, and now today call people that assaulted the Capitol, where 5 people died, hostages. That contrast of the decency, integrity, morality, country first. You don't see that on the other side of the ticket. What you see is power mongering by white Christian nationalists.
Okay, so to Pumps's point, let's hear this clip from Joe Biden, and his speech was incredible. And it cannot be overstated that this is how adults conduct a convention, okay? There's been all these rumors. Trump's going batshit crazy on Truth Social. It was a coup. Joe Biden hates Kamala, yak, blah, blah. Fox amplifies all of those lies. This is how adults do it. And it's important to point out that Melania didn't speak at their convention. His vice president didn't speak. No former presidents went to the RNC and spoke. But last night, you saw an entire party. Everybody who's anybody in the Democratic Party was there. They were there supporting sitting President Joe Biden. And then he was there supporting his record, which has been incredibly consequential, and to endorse his vice presidential candidate. And I will forever love that man, because so many white men would have passed over the black woman and said she can't win it, but he didn't. And that was the biggest gift to this country, to say we are starting our default setting at equality. But let's hear how badass Joe Biden is.
I ran for president in 2020 because of what I saw in Charlottesville in August of 2017. Extremists coming out of the woods, carrying torches, their veins bulging from their necks, carrying Nazi swastikas, and chanting the same exact anti-Semitic bile that was heard in Germany in the early 30s. Neo-Nazis, white supremacists, the Ku Klux Klan, so emboldened by a president then in the White House, that they saw as an ally.
That's what we have thought from the jump. He is so right. I'm glad he called it out. If you go over to Truth Social, which I go on there so you don't have to, the racism, the overt racism on that site is jaw-dropping. It is unbelievable to me that in and of itself would not be disqualifying. I know I say that every day. And then he also there's some remix of Alanis Morissette's song, Fine Day, or whatever the words are, where he says Kamala Harris got down on her knees. Are we not tired of this? Are we not tired of demeaning people and making people feel other? The fact that a former president of the United States would magnify sexism to that degree, would go with the old trope that the only reason Vice President Harris is successful is because she's running around on her knees. It is disgusting. It is offensive. I was so in shock by that. But then given hope that we are people of equal value for everyone. We believe in women's rights. The Democratic Party, they've got problems. They're not perfect, but they are pro-American, not pro-America first, only for straight white men.
So the Democratic Party, everybody can fit under that tent. Mm-hmm. If you are a woman, if you are a person of color, if you are LGBTQ+, it is a desire to keep moving towards the default setting of this country being equality and valuing people that are not in the upper class exclusively and having a more fair and balanced tax system. But here's something I want to say. To every single woman that lives in a red state, where your governor and your red state government have already instituted a national abortion ban, and they are already eliminating discrimination protections for hiring, housing, et cetera, where we live. We are here at the DNC, and we get on this YouTube channel every day for you, for LGBTQ+, for women like us that live in red states, for minorities that live in red states that we already know what MAGA is doing because we are already living in the beginning stages of Project 2025. And look at the economies in these states.
Right.
Look at them compared to red states. Look at the education rankings in these red states compared to blue states. It is not good. In Oklahoma, I've said this before and I'm going to say it again. In Oklahoma, we have a Christian nationalist governor who is a dipshit. We have a Christian nationalist majority Senate and Congress and Supreme Court, all conservative. We have a cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, the craziest MFer you have ever seen in your life, as the school superintendent, who is so wildly homophobic and wildly anti-education. It's no surprise to anybody that Oklahoma ranks 49th in the country in education. So we know what these policies look like. We know that they want to keep women completely suppressed. And we know that women like us, if we needed to travel out of state, we could afford to do so. So it further marginalizes poor people, these policies do. And they do it all while saying they're Christian. And the gig is up. And the energy last night, the speech from all of the speakers, Hillary Clinton, the decency, how she advocates for women continually, again and again. I'm here to tell you, MAGA and Donald Trump, it is all over but the crying. All the women are organized. We are not going to have our rights taken away. The enthusiasm, the intelligence, the decency at the DNC is something I will forever have gratitude that I got to experience with my very best friend so many times last night, you guys. Pumps and I are looking at each other like, I cannot believe that we're here. I cannot believe that we're experiencing this moment in history. So please keep following along. Follow all of our socials. We're going to be back over there today. We're going to be back over there tonight. We're going to update you guys every morning. This is a great time to be an American, but the fight is ahead of us. I believe that Kamala is still the underdog, which is shocking, but we have to band together to take this over the finish line and get Democratic super majorities, because every idea that they have is bullshit. And it's evidenced by the fact that look at how few Republicans that have attended the RNC. It was a collection of misfits. It literally was. Hulk Hogan, the My Pillow guy, Kid Rock. It is embarrassing. They should be humiliated. But the adults are in Chicago, and the adults are putting this convention together, and we're so excited to be here. Pumps, what's your final takeaway?
I am so excited for this convention. I'm so excited for tonight. It's going to be amazing. And I'm hopeful. I'm really, really hopeful.
All right, listen, follow along. You help us more than you know when you subscribe to this channel. Please go over to wherever you listen to your podcast and subscribe to I've Had It Podcast and IHIP News. Rate and review us. It helps us more than you know. And we will see you guys later today. And let's go, Kamala.
Let's go.
We're not going back.
It's so entertaining. Tap the vein. So